I should have started this before I started recording. Hey YouTube! It's Sunday.
Why are you such a coffee cat?
So I got a little wine tonight for the story time because, well, you'll understand why later, but I'm gonna need it. Because this story is absolutely ridiculous, and honestly, whenever I think back on it, I'm still like, how is that a memory of mine? Like, it feels like a dream because it's not something that would ever happen to me in my life, ever. And weird, crazy shit happens to me all the time, but trust me, this would not happen. So this story involves who I refer to almost solely as the evil ex, on our college campus probably about a month or so after we had broken up. Stuff was like $3, it's decent. It also involves a random dude named Evan who I only knew for that one semester and literally have not seen since. Okay, so this Evan kid was in 2 of my classes throughout the week, and that meant like Monday, Wednesday, and or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't remember, but it was a couple times a week, and he was in like a morning one and an afternoon one. He was also one of those guys who was like kind of cute from far away, so I was already kind of noticing him, but like not like a lot, not like, oh, I want you, but just like, you know, like I noticed him, like I was like, oh, you're kind of attractive. Mind you, we had literally never spoken to each other. I had emotionally distanced myself from the evil ex way before we had actually broken up. We had had a lot of issues. So by the time that we actually did split, I was hurt and like it kind of sucked, but I wasn't super broken up about it, if that makes any sense. Like I was just like, I had already accepted that it was over, and after a few weeks I started wondering what it would be like to have a casual rebound, because I had never done that before, and that was when I started noticing just how often Evan looked at me. He always sat like across the room from me, which like, I mean like just far away enough so that he still looked attractive, and also that way like it was like the perfect spot. You know how like there's one spot where like every time you turn your head like you look there, you know, while you are turning your head. Anyway, it was that spot, so like every time like we turned our heads, like we would like catch each other's eye. Anyway, so I eventually talked to my friend Ashley about this because I mean we talked about that stuff all the time, and she got really excited because the whole time she had known me, I actually met her through the evil ex, so like the whole time that she had known me I had been with him, so she was like really excited for me to like hook up with a random dude. She's like, come on, yeah, we're gonna get this done for you. That's a weird way to phrase it and not how she said it at all, but you get the point. So when I saw her before my afternoon class that I had with Evan, she told me to tell him that I'd forgotten my book and asked to look on with him and just kind of let the conversation go from there. I felt very awkward about it, but I did it because, you know, I wanted this thing to happen. So, and he was more than happy to help. He was like, yes, awesome, cool, just come sit next to me, I'll share my book with you. And like we made a little bit of conversation, but mostly like we were still listening to the professor and like kind of paying attention to class, reading along, etc. That is until we were reading along to a passage that the professor was reading, and he wrote in the margins of his book, you ... are very distracting. Oh my god, it's so cringy. So in the little book where I was taking notes, I always carry around like a little journal or whatever in my purse, and that's what I was using, and on my page I wrote ... Is that a bad thing? I'm not gonna go through the whole conversation, partly because I don't remember it, and partly because it's so ridiculously cringy. I just don't want to go through that. I probably might have somewhere like out in the shed where like all of my stuff is, but basically we were like writing back and forth, like I was writing in mine and he was writing in his, and we were just like flirting back and forth. I wonder if he rented that book. Oh my god, if he rented that book and then he turns it back in and then some random person like gets that book for their semester and they just see like these little, oh my god, oh that's weird to think about. He wrote something like, are you good at taking instructions? And little innocent Kai didn't know what kinks were back then, so I didn't quite understand the question, so I just said, I guess so, with the question mark. He then told me to meet him at the columns in front of the library after class, and I told him that I had about 30 minutes between class and work, and he said that would be fine. So when I saw Ashley after I got out of class, I told her what was happening, and she got all excited, and I told her if she went and hung out in the coffee house, then once we were done and I had to clock in for work, I would come in and tell her what happened. And then I walked to the library. I was leaning against one of the columns, just like scrolling through social media and waiting for Evan, when the evil ex himself walked up to me. He tried to stand around and make awkward conversation, and then whenever I asked him to leave because I was meeting someone, he insisted to know why I was meeting them and who I was meeting, and he wouldn't take, I'm just meeting a friend, for an answer. So I stood there and I listened to him for a little while, and then I finally got fed up and just told him to go away. He started pouting and was like, fine, bye, and started walking away, and then he like kept looking back over at me as he was walking. Anyway, he was gone, and so I continued scrolling through my phone and waiting for Evan, but it had actually been a little while at this point, and I still hadn't seen him. That was when I got a Facebook message from Evan saying that he must not have been clear enough with his instructions, and that he didn't have enough time now, and that we would just have to meet up another time. I told him, confused, that I had been at the columns in front of the library for some time now, and I hadn't seen him. He responded that he still wouldn't have enough time to do what he really wanted to do, but he had enough time to get in a goodbye kiss. I had literally just finished reading his message when I looked up to see him turning the corner, walking briskly towards me, like eyes dead locked on me. And so I opened my mouth to say hello because I wasn't just gonna like stand there and watch him walk up to me. But by the time I was gonna say something, he was like already up to me, and he grabbed my shoulders and like pushed me back against the column, trying and failing to do that whole like, I'm sexy and I'm in control thing. And then he kissed me. No, actually that wasn't a kiss. I misspoke. He smashed his face and lips against mine, and his mouth was like half open the whole time. I'm telling you, I have never had a kiss that bad in my entire life. And in high school, I dated a guy who really wasn't into making out at all, and he never really had before me. And so the one time that we tried to, we both just awkwardly stood there with our mouths open, just like pressed against each other, and our tongues like awkwardly touching the inside of the other person's mouth for a good 10 to 15 seconds. Like when I tell you he was bad at kissing, oh my god, he was bad at kissing. So just to sum up what this looked like from the outside, I'm pressed up against a column because he's pushing my shoulders back. I'm stiff as a board and physically recoiling from this whole experience. And he's eyes closed, mouth half open, heavy breathing, going at it. It was not a pleasant sight or sensation. And because I'm me, and because my luck is the worst kind of luck with things like this, that was the exact moment that the Evil X decided to walk back across campus toward us, and he saw us. My eyes were closed at the moment because I gotta be honest with you, Evan is one of those guys who is like pretty cute from far away, but the second that they're close up, he was really unpleasant to look at. So I was not having any part of that. So I didn't see the Evil X coming up, or I would have physically pushed him off of me. Look, we had a toxic and abusive relationship, and everything was shitty, and the mess up was breaky, and the breakup was messy. But I'm not a piece of shit, okay? I still didn't want him to see that. I knew it wouldn't be pleasant for him to see. So anyway, the Evil X announced his presence by across the quad, stopping in his spot, looking across campus at us, and yelling across the quad, "What the fuck?" Just loud enough for us to hear. His nasally voice literally echoed across the campus over to us. Evan put away from my face, thankfully, at this and turned his head to look at the Evil X, but his hands were still on my shoulders, so I was still pressed up against the column, and we just like both watched the Evil X storming up toward us, yelling things like, "What are you doing?" When he approached us, I told the Evil X that he needed to leave and that it was none of his business, but all he had to say to that was, "Can you get off of each other?" Evan thankfully stepped away, and I continued telling the Evil X that this was none of his business, that he needed to leave me alone, that I wasn't his property, yada yada yada. All of which he ignored. He asked Evan, "Did you know that we were engaged just a few weeks ago?" To which Evan replied no, because he didn't know anything about me. This was our first time talking ever, which is honestly like one of the weirdest parts about this whole encounter. And then the Evil X accused me of cheating, which I denied and rolled my eyes at and was still ignored. And after a minute of being ignored, I threw my hands up and said, "I'm not dealing with this right now." And I walked into the coffee house where I had to work in about 15 minutes, and the Evil X continued yelling at Evan outside. I found Ashley and one of our other friends at a table inside the coffee house, so I sat down with them and briefly recapped what had just happened. And that was when the Evil X came storming in, thankfully without Evan. He then started yelling at me in the middle of the coffee house, which is not a loud place, at least at this time it wasn't. And like, I'm just like sitting in this chair just like watching him, and he's up and pacing and yelling and waving his arms wildly at me, accusing me of shit, questioning me, telling me, "Oh, you're acting so out of character. I don't even know who you are anymore." I kept repeating, "It's not your business and you need to leave," and different variations of that. But again, surprise, surprise, I was continually ignored. It literally got so bad, like everyone in the coffee house was looking, and it got so bad, like my friend Ashley and our other friend, like they both had to step in, which it says something, because both of these people were mutual friends that I had met through the Evil X. So I didn't know them beforehand. It's not like they were just like, "Hey man, leave her alone." Like, they knew us both. They saw the relationship. They actually actually were originally closer to him, and yet still they had to step in because he was that erratic. Finally, after causing such a big scene that every single person in the coffee house, including the employees, were all watching his little breakdown, and after all three of us had been yelling at him for a while now, he left. I then sent Evan a Facebook message explaining to him that I didn't think it would be a good idea if we got involved, using the Evil X as my main reason, but I conveniently left out the fact that my real main reason was because I was very, very unattracted to him now that I experienced what he called kissing. And he responded that we should talk about it later because I didn't know what he was planning on doing, and I told him that it didn't matter, that I didn't want to get involved with him, and he said, fine, and put in some little snippy comment after that I don't remember, and then I had to clock in for work. Of course, after that, Evan started being a dick to me all the time. Like, he would, like, force me to talk to him in class by, like, you know, whenever the whole class is, like, sitting around and, like, we're all talking in group discussions or whatever like that, he would, like, call me out by name and, like, ask me a specific question, and I had to at least acknowledge him because I couldn't, you know, just keep ignoring him, even though that's what I was very clearly trying to do. I don't know what that was. One time, I even heard him ask one of my friends who I sat next to in that class, whenever he was, like, in a group with them, what my name was. And when they told him my name, which he knew, literally, he knew my name. Like, that was literally just a ploy. Whenever they told him my name, he was like, oh, hey, and, like, used my name across the room and was like, this sticker's a John Green quote, right? And I was like, yes. Especially because, like, he disappeared the semester after that. Like, where did you go? Did you just come in during that one semester just to be an asshole and, like, screw things up? And, like, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing? Anyway, so that's the story of that. I'm 400% not sure how I'm going to title this video, partly because I literally can't pick out the single craziest thing about the story, because the entire thing is just insane in every little facet, so there's that. Don't forget to like this video, and please leave me a comment down below if you've ever had anything semi-crazy happen like this. Like, I live for stories that are as crazy or almost as crazy as mine, so please do it. I really want to read them. I know that's like a thing that, like, I always say at the end of my videos, and a lot of other YouTubers always say that, and I always mean it, but, like, with this specifically, like, I really want to hear your stories. I have links to all my social media in the description box below, including my Patreon, where you can support me monthly for really cool prizes. And prizes are things like shouting you out, like your Twitter handle or whatever, in my videos, or even, like, as far as, like, making a video just for you that you pick. And there's also room for, like, suggestions always. So go do that, check me out on there, and be the coolest of all the MeowChiatos. Feel like that was a very cheesy way to say that, but it's fine. Who am I, the Gabby Show? Spilled wine all over my bed, so this was a terrible idea. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more random story times, random weird shit, and also wine everywhere, like my life. Stay cool, MeowChiatos. Thanks so much for watching. Beware bad kissers, and I'll see you next week. Hey YouTube, hey YouTube, hey YouTube, it's Sunday. We thought you died. Fuck it, I'm dead. Little boulder! Whiplash, sorry. Subscribe. Anyway, kind of psycho mode. What? MeowChiatos? Same. Woohoo! Why does this shit happen to me?
Why are you such a copycat?
No, I legitimately still shudder when I think about that kiss to this day. I would literally rather eat a feather.